Sure. Yeah. Hey, Bram Spector, group insurance evangelist. Been focused on employee benefits my entire career. Started my career on the carrier side. Spent about 16 years in professional services, helping employers structure their benefits programs, as well as predominantly focused on helping insurance carriers improve their group insurance businesses. And spent the last five or so years on the carrier side in a couple of CFO roles. Super fortunate to know Santosh and Karan, and had the opportunity to come on board as a strategic advisor to Stitch. Very excited about what Stitch is doing, and very much believe they are going to help with something I've been very focused on, which is reinventing and revolutionizing the employee benefits customer experience. I was fortunate enough to be around Karan when I spent a portion of my career at Deloitte Consulting. We never worked directly together, but we were always kind of adjacent in similar spaces. I really got to know them better. I brought Karan on as a strategic advisor to my business that I was helping to build at Pacific Life when we started a greenfield employee benefits insurance company there. Brought Karan on, given his deep expertise around technology as we were making some decisions around core platforms and so on. I've known Santosh and Karan not super well during their Spree days, but was very excited about that solution and market, years ago. And when I heard that they were getting back together, I was very excited. I am very excited about the AI revolution. I think there's tremendous opportunity in the insurance sector for AI to help across the entirety of sort of the customer experience. For that to be true, you need a combination of deep technology expertise, right? A true understanding of how to make AI work, as well as deep business experience and expertise. So how do I look at whatever particular transaction, workflow, et cetera, that I'm focused on? And, what do I truly, do I truly understand it? Do I know what's necessary to make that particular task, workflow, et cetera, happen? And how do I take the business expertise coupled with the technology to improve that particular task? As you think across the entire value chain of insurance, and this is no different for employee benefits versus life insurance versus property and casualty, but how do we take these tasks that are fairly complex, but ultimately boil down to a whole bunch of information that I have to take out, sort of put into a process, and then a whole bunch of information that I have to extract out the back end? How do I use agents to help accelerate and improve those processes? I think there's just tremendous opportunity. I think the insurance industry, as long as I've been involved, 20, 30, years, big, massive technology transformation programs are incredibly hard, right? And they're hard because the complexity of what carriers are trying to solve for is massive. The core systems work and work well for a defined set of things, but they solve for 80 or 90% of what an insurance company needs. And that last 10 or 20%, always tends to be really, really, really hard. And that 10 or 20% could be, the last, 1,000 different flavors of products that you might be trying to solve for in terms of providing for your customers, or the ins and outs of the system that the system wasn't really designed to enable for the carrier. What's super exciting to me is Stitch actually allows for, and I sort of stumbled upon this with Santosh, it allows insurance carriers to actually stitch together the gaps in their current technology that is probably fairly good and doesn't get enough credit for what it does. it's the ins and outs and the disjoints between the various systems where carriers have ultimately created these manual processes, right? I'm going to download information from this system, I'm going to manually adjust it, and then I'm going to upload it into the next piece of the value chain. Like, that is where the manual work has sort of crept into the insurance ecosystem. And that is where Stitch, I think, has just this tremendous opportunity to sort of literally stitch together the disjoints in the flow of information across the customer lifecycle, the insurance value chain. And that is what just got me super, super, super excited. And by the way, stitching it together allows for the individuals who are doing the work to focus on not the manual process of extracting, typing, and then sort of moving the information to the next step of the process, but they can actually focus their time and energy instead on helping the end customer, that could be an internal stakeholder or the actual external customer, with whatever the ultimate problem is, and sort of flipping the dynamic of like moving data along to actually serving the customer is something that I'm just super passionate about. Well, first I'll say I'm a huge fan of Agile. I'm not a sort of Agile disciple, but I'm certainly a zealot. I think that one of the core Agile principles is starting really small and building in concentric circles around it. I think AI has come along at a perfect time when the insurance industry is getting to a level of comfort with the Agile approach to technology and sort of business innovation. And I think starting small, prove out the value that AI can have by tackling a small problem where you've got a manual task, a manual workflow that's created, significant strain on whatever is most important from a strategic business perspective. In my last business, growth was tremendously important, which is why all of our energy was focused on sort of underwriting and improving underwriting turnaround times, underwriting efficiency, and so on. But every business is going to be different. Like, focus on where you have the biggest constraints in your business. Where are you having a hard time scaling? Find the small microtransactions that are slowing you down and try to see if AI can dramatically accelerate productivity of those people or productivity of sort of that portion of your work. My guess is if you start small, you will find that there's tremendous value in using AI for that particular task and build, right? Like, once you adopt, an agent that's working, one, you will generate sort of organizational buy-in. You'll see the power that AI can have in terms of improving productivity of people, eliminating the manual work that those people frankly don't enjoy doing on a daily basis, but they have to, and use that to sort of both build grassroots excitement about AI, in a positive, productive way, as well as, you can build agents concentrically around that particular first use case to continue to expand the impact that it has. I think the employee benefits sector is probably a little bit behind some of the other insurance sectors in terms of innovation around customer experience. So the ways that AI can help, I think, are, frankly, limitless. Certainly, the underwriting process is complex, cumbersome, based on lack of standardized data and data exchange between brokers and carriers. So I think there's tremendous opportunity for AI to help accelerate the underwriting process and frankly improve the experience for both brokers and carriers. I think there's tremendous opportunity in the claims dimension. Claims adjudication is complex. There's a tremendous amount of correspondence that goes back and forth between the carrier and the claimant. And frankly, I think AI has the opportunity to help improve the experience on both sides, help the end claimant understand their policy, their contract, their cert, etc., help them understand where they can find information in this complex legal document, and help them understand what the carrier is doing, how they're doing it in a way that the claimant can help the carrier ultimately get to the right sort of end decision, which is the most important thing. that sort of speaks to customers, customer service. So I think there's tremendous opportunity for improvements in self-service in the employee benefits industry. How can the end employee get the information about the coverage that they have, how they can utilize the coverage, what they're eligible for, what they're not eligible for, in a way that helps improve their understanding of their benefits, how they can utilize their benefits effectively, what they are entitled to, and sometimes what they're not entitled to. But to be honest, there are use cases galore where I think AI will ultimately improve both the productivity of the carrier, which is in the end benefit of the customers. If carriers can get more productive using AI, they should be able to sort of reinvest that productivity in lower prices and better value for their policyholders. Great question. One, understand the organizational, barriers, right? Understand that upfront and early. Is your organization comfortable with AI? If not, why? And if not, work to educate the key decision makers on why some of those obstacles may be overcomable or not, right? So tremendous amount of discussion right now around sort of ethical AI. I think AI actually has the opportunity to improve, decision making. It's not going to introduce bias, but it's actually going to better inform the person who's making a decision by providing all of the accurate information that they need, that they might not be, as a human being, seeing every time they're going through a particular task, a particular decision, and so on. So, helping those who are involved in slowing AI from a governance perspective understand that, improving the way, with a human in the loop, improving the way that human is making a decision by having access to all the important information is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. That AI isn't actually making decisions, is probably an important, relevant point that, those involved in governance need to sort of work through. So understand the obstacles, make sure you inform the right people. And then again, I think the second part is start small, right? Start small, try, test, learn, fail, right? If you're going to fail, figure out from those failures kind of what didn't work and why, and whether or not that means your organization's ready or your organization maybe needs to invest in certain areas to be better ready for the next AI pilot. But to me, the biggest thing is start somewhere, commit. I think that AI has tremendous opportunity, and sitting on the sidelines, waiting and seeing is probably not the right strategy from my perspective, but mostly because I think it's important to test and learn and adapt. What excites me the most is that Stitch is taking a very practical approach to building agents, and very much rooted in deep insurance expertise. I think that's going to create a great outcome for the industry. I think they're working across all of the stakeholders, which ultimately will create the opportunity to improve communication in this very complex industry that we live in with multiple stakeholders. But frankly, I'm just excited. Deeply passionate about the insurance industry, deeply passionate about insurance and the value it provides to policyholders. So anyone who's out there trying to improve the experience for customers, improve carrier productivity, I'm excited about. And that's why I look forward to seeing what Stitch is able to do to help this industry.